Have you ever considered what it would be like to simply vanish? To be there one moment, a vibrant presence in the world, and gone the next, leaving behind nothing but questions and a silence that echoes through decades. This is the story of a woman who flew towards the horizon and never came back, a world-famous aviator who became a ghost in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Her name was Amelia Earhart, and her last flight remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our time. It was July 2, 1937. The world held its breath as Amelia Earhart, an icon of courage and a pioneer for women's rights, embarked on the final, most perilous leg of her attempt to circumnavigate the globe. Alongside her skilled navigator, Fred Noonan, she lifted off from Lee, New Guinea, in her twin-engine Lockheed Electra 10E. Their destination was a tiny speck in the ocean, Howland Island, a crucial refueling stop. They were never seen again. The flight was the culmination of a lifetime of defying expectations. Born in Atchison, Kansas, in 1897, Amelia Earhart was never one for convention. From a young age, she collected newspaper clippings about women in male-dominated fields and dreamed of a life of adventure. Her first plane ride in 1920 was a revelation. As she later said, "As soon as I left the ground, I knew I myself had to fly." She worked odd jobs, from truck driver to photographer, to pay for flying lessons. Her passion and determination quickly set her apart. She became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, a feat that catapulted her to international fame. But Earhart was more than just a pilot. She was a symbol of what women could achieve. She used her platform to champion women's rights and encourage others to pursue their dreams, becoming the first president of the 99s, an organization for female pilots that she helped establish. The round-the-world flight was to be her magnum opus, a final, triumphant chapter in a storied career. The Lockheed Electra, specially modified with extra fuel tanks, was her flying laboratory. With the experienced Fred Noonan, a former Pan Am navigator, by her side, the journey had been arduous but successful. They had crossed continents and oceans, and now, only the vast Pacific stood between them and the completion of their historic journey. The plan for the flight from Lee to Howland Island was meticulously detailed. It was a staggering 2,550-mile journey over open water to an island, just 2 miles long and less than a mile wide. To guide them, the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca was stationed near Howland, tasked with providing radio communication and navigational support. 2 other U.S. ships were also positioned along the route to act as markers. As Earhart and Noonan flew into the pre-dawn darkness, the challenges mounted. Overcast skies and intermittent rain showers obscured their view. Radio communication, their lifeline in the immense emptiness of the ocean, became sporadic and fraught with difficulty. The Itasca could hear Earhart's transmissions, but she seemed unable to hear theirs. Her voice, crackling across the radio waves, conveyed a growing sense of unease. "We must be on you but cannot see you," she reported at 7:42 a.m. "Fuel is running low. Been unable to reach you by radio. We are flying at 1,000 feet. The crew of the Itasca listened, helpless. They sent up smoke signals, hoping to pierce the clouds and broadcast every signal they could, but to no avail. The state-of-the-art Electra, a marvel of modern aviation, was lost in a sea of sky. At 8:43 a.m., her final haunting transmission was received. "We are on the line, 157, 337. We will repeat this message. We will repeat this on 6210 kilocycles." Wait, then there was only silence. The line 157-337 referred to a navigational line of position, a sun line that passed through their intended destination. But without a precise location, it was simply a line drawn across 1,000 square miles of ocean. The Itasca waited, but no further message ever came. The disappearance of America's most beloved aviator triggered an immediate and unprecedented search and rescue operation. Within an hour of her last transmission, the Itasca began combing the vast waters. Soon the U.S. Navy and even the Japanese Navy joined the effort, scouring an area of the Pacific roughly the size of Texas. For 16 days, ships and planes crisscrossed the ocean, but found no trace of the Electra, no debris, no oil slick, nothing. On July 19, 1937, the official search was called off, and Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan were declared lost at sea. But for the public, and for those who refused to let go, the search had just begun. Her husband, George P. Putnam, financed his own private search of nearby island chains, but he too found nothing. The world was left with a gaping question mark, a mystery that would spawn countless theories and capture the public's imagination for generations to come. The most widely accepted explanation, the one held by the U.S. Navy, is the crash and sink theory. It posits that the Electra, unable to locate Howland Island and with its fuel tanks empty, simply plunged into the Pacific and sank to the ocean floor. This theory is logical, straightforward, and accounts for the lack of wreckage found. The Pacific is deep, and finding a downed aircraft in its vastness would be like finding a needle in a haystack. Yet for many, this simple explanation felt unsatisfying. How could a pilot as skilled as Earhart, with a navigator as experienced as Noonan, simply miss their target? This question opened the door to a myriad of other possibilities, each more intriguing than the last. Whispers of a different fate began to circulate, tales of survival, capture, and even espionage that have kept the mystery alive. One of the most enduring alternative theories centers on Gardner Island, now known as Nikumaroro, an uninhabited coral atoll about 350 nautical miles southeast of Howland. Proponents of this theory, most notably the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, TIGHAR, believe that Earhart and Noonan, unable to find Howland, turned south along their line of position and made a forced landing on Nikumaroro's flat reef. TIGHAR's expeditions to the island have uncovered tantalizing, though not definitive, clues. They found artifacts that could be linked to Earhart, including a jar of a specific brand of freckle cream she was known to use, and a piece of plexiglass consistent with that of a Lockheed Electra. There were also signs of a castaway's campsite, suggesting someone may have survived on the island for a time. Adding to the intrigue of the Nikumaroro hypothesis are the numerous post-disappearance radio signals that were reported. In the days following Earhart's last transmission, dozens of credible distress calls were picked up by radio operators around the world. Some reported hearing a faint voice, believed to be Earhart's, calling for help. TIGHAR argues these signals could have been transmitted from the Electra's radio, powered by its engine, until the tide washed the plane off the reef. Then there are the darker, more conspiratorial theories. One prominent theory suggests that Earhart and Noonan were captured by the Japanese. Some versions claim they were on a secret spying mission for the U.S. government, gathering intelligence on Japanese military installations in the Pacific. According to this narrative, they were either shot down or crash-landed in Japanese-held territory, such as the Marshall Islands, and taken prisoner. This spy theory gained traction due to the tense political climate in the Pacific before World War II, and a history of classified government files related to the disappearance. Some even claim to have seen a photograph of Earhart and Noonan on a Japanese aircraft carrier after their disappearance. The idea that Earhart may have been executed as a spy or died in captivity on an island like Saipan has persisted, despite the lack of concrete evidence. Other theories stray further into the realm of speculation. One bizarre rumor that circulated after the war was that Earhart had been forced to broadcast Japanese propaganda as one of the women collectively known as Tokyo Rose. Her husband, George Putnam, listened to hours of these broadcasts but did not recognize his wife's voice. Another far-fetched story claimed she survived, was secretly repatriated to the U.S., and lived out her life in New Jersey under an assumed name. The decades-long silence from the depths of the Pacific was punctuated by moments of hope and excitement. In early 2024, a deep-sea exploration company, Deep Sea Vision, announced a stunning discovery. Using sonar imaging, they had found an object shaped remarkably like an airplane resting 16,400 feet below the surface, about 100 miles from Howland Island. The grainy image sparked a worldwide media frenzy. Could this finally be the Electra? The location fit the crash and sink theory, and the shape was undeniably plane-like. The world watched with bated breath as plans were made for a return expedition to confirm the object's identity. For a moment, it seemed the mystery that had endured for nearly a century was on the verge of being solved. The tantalizing possibility of seeing the silver Electra emerge from the dark abyss was almost palpable. However, the ocean is a master of illusion. In November 2024, Deep Sea Vision delivered the disappointing news. A closer examination revealed the object was not a plane, but a plane-shaped pile of rocks. Nature had played a cruel trick, creating a formation that mimicked the lost aircraft with eerie precision. The brief flicker of hope was extinguished, and the mystery of Amelia Earhart's final resting place sank back into the depths. Despite this setback, the search continues. The allure of solving this enduring enigma is as strong as ever. In a significant development, it was announced in July 2025 that a new expedition, the Terria Object Expedition, would head to Nikumaroro in November 2025. This joint effort by the Purdue Research Foundation and the Archaeological Legacy Institute aims to investigate another anomaly, this time seen in satellite imagery of the island's lagoon. Purdue University has a special connection to the story. Earhart worked there as an advisor, and the university's research foundation helped fund her flying laboratory. She had intended to donate the Electra to Purdue upon her return. This new expedition, armed with the latest technology, represents perhaps the best chance yet to prove or disprove the Nikumaroro hypothesis once and for all, and just maybe, bring Amelia's plane home. The immediate aftermath of Earhart's disappearance was a period of national mourning and disbelief. She was officially declared dead in absentia in January 1939, but the lack of a definitive resolution left a void. Her husband published Last Flight, a collection of her diary entries and letters sent during the trip, which offered a poignant, first-hand account of her final journey. The U.S. government's official conclusion remained unchanged. Earhart and Noonan ran out of fuel and crashed at sea. However, the sheer volume of alternative theories and the persistent questions surrounding the official search have led to a climate of skepticism. Why were some government files so heavily redacted? Was there more to the story that officials weren't telling? These questions fueled the mystery for decades. In a move that sent shockwaves through the community of Earhart researchers and enthusiasts, a presidential order was issued in September 2025 to declassify all government records related to her disappearance. This long-awaited release of information has the potential to shed new light on the case, possibly confirming or refuting long-held suspicions about a secret mission or a government cover-up. The world is now waiting to see what secrets these files might hold. The breakthrough in this case may not come from a single dramatic discovery, but from the painstaking assembly of disparate clues. A faded photograph, a fragment of metal, a crackling radio transmission deciphered decades later. It's a puzzle with pieces scattered across time and the vast Pacific, and each new search, each declassified document, adds another piece to the board, bringing the full picture, however slowly, into focus. The aftermath of Amelia Earhart's last flight was the birth of a legend. By vanishing, she became more than just a famous pilot. She became an icon of mystery and adventure, her story passed down through generations. The unresolved nature of her disappearance has cemented her place in popular culture, making her name synonymous with the ultimate unsolved mystery. The case has had a lasting impact on aviation and exploration. The initial search was the most extensive air and sea search in history at the time, pushing the boundaries of search and rescue technology and methodology. Every subsequent expedition to find her has utilized cutting-edge technology, from deep-sea sonar to satellite imagery analysis, continuing to advance the field of underwater exploration. Her life, however, is a legacy that transcends her death. Amelia Earhart was a trailblazer who broke barriers in the sky and on the ground. She proved that women could be just as courageous, skilled, and adventurous as men. Her accomplishments as an aviator and her advocacy for women's rights inspired countless people and helped pave the way for future generations of female pilots and leaders. Today, museums across the country, like the National Air and Space Museum, preserve her memory and artifacts from her incredible life, including models of her iconic Lockheed Electra. Her story continues to be told in books, documentaries, and films, ensuring that her pioneering spirit will never be forgotten. She remains a powerful symbol of courage, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of one's dreams. And so the mystery endures. Did Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan meet their end in a sudden, tragic plunge into the Pacific? Did they survive for a time as castaways on a desolate island, sending out desperate calls for a rescue that never came? Or was their disappearance part of a larger, more clandestine story of espionage and international intrigue? The ocean holds its secrets close. Perhaps one day, the wreckage of the Electra will be found, its silver wings resting in the silent darkness of the deep, finally providing the answers the world has sought for so long. But even if the mystery is never solved, the story of Amelia Earhart's final flight will continue to captivate us, a haunting reminder of a fearless pioneer who flew towards the horizon and into legend. The chilling question remains, hanging in the vast, empty expanse of the Pacific sky. What really happened to Amelia Earhart? The silence that answers is filled with nearly a century of speculation, searching, and the enduring power of a mystery that refuses to die. Her voice, last heard crackling over the radio, has faded, but the echo of her story and the questions it leaves behind will resonate forever.